This video has the best Fortnite settings for this chapter, whether you're plugged into a console or playing on PC, which just like all these settings and sensitivities are important, the keyboard and mouse you actually game with are just as important. And that's why MelGeek is quickly sponsoring this video with their new Real 67 magnetic switch keyboard. It's a TKL with the fastest actuation point at 0.01. It has an 8,000 Hz polling rate for ultra low latency. It uses some of the highest quality, also nicest sounding switches I've ever heard with the TTC Tie E switches. These have a one-piece button and high-speed rail-style top housing, which this makes the keyboard more durable, but it also enhances the smooth, lubricated feel of the keystrokes. These switches are only made for MelGeek, which means they have zero dead zone rapid triggering, they have stable RT values, and they have an ultra-low latency of 0.125 milliseconds. This is called their gasket mount 5-stage sound optimization stack. And I think the underrated part is they partnered with a pro esports team to make actually useful features, like a one-click pro player presets, which you can change just from the website. Then you have the aesthetic, which looks really high-end, and there's all these other colorways too. And this thing is 99 bucks, which compared to other pro keyboards that cost 3 times as much is crazy. I'll be using this all video, and if you want to get one too, then the link will be in the top of the description and my pinned comment. And let's jump right in. So if you are on a PC, depending on your specs, this tab will be different. Personally, I play on 1440p at 240 FPS, and then I think everyone should be on performance mode. If you are on consoles, try to make sure you're on 120 FPS mode. For graphics settings, I leave everything default except for brightness. My game feels so dark, so I just turn this all the way up to 150%. And then for performance mode, everything is off or low except view distance I leave on epic. And these are my advanced graphics settings. Now over to audio, there's only one setting in here that's important, and it's to have visualized sound effects turned on. Everything else is just kind of personal preference, but this make sure you have turned on. Then we have communications tab, and then the game tab, which is also very important. So then we get to the movement tab, which is kind of just personal preference. We get to the combat tab, which again is mostly just personal preference. Almost all of these are just settings that can be good on or off. It's just up to you what you prefer. And for preferred item slots, whatever you have your bind set to should be the order that you place these. So like personally, my shotgun bind is the number 3, and then my AR bind is the number 2, so that's kind of just the order that I have them in. Reset building choice, yes. Turbo building, yes. Simple edit, if you're on keyboard and mouse, you probably shouldn't be using simple edit because it's way easier to just get good at editing with this. Disable pre-edits, it depends if you're a beginner or like really advanced. Even I still don't really like to have pre-edits on. I think it just messes me up a lot. But if you are on keyboard and mouse, you can get pretty good with pre-edits and use them to catch players off guard. So this could be something you actually want to turn on. Auto-confirm edits always on both. All the fastest players have now switched to using auto-confirm edits. Peterbot uses it, Clicks uses it. These are the fastest editors in the game, and they use auto-confirm edits because it's faster. Extra game options, again, just a bunch of personal preference type stuff. Game UI tab is full of more of these personal preference settings. Whatever you kind of prefer, you can set these to. Gyro aiming is for controller, and then we get to the mouse and keyboard sensitivities tab. And how I actually got this sense is crazy because I first started trying to learn keyboard and mouse like 2 or 3 years ago in like chapter 3. And so I actually ripped this sensitivity straight from Booga at the time, and this is with an 800 DPI. You have to make sure you're on 800 DPI if you're using this sense. And if you don't know how to change that, I'll show you how to change that in just a second. But basically, multiple years ago, I stole this sense from Booga, and it's a really good beginner sense because it's not too slow, it's not too fast. But now, if we go into my settings portal and go over to Peterbot's sense, look at this. The same sense that I copied from Booga that he was using like 3 years ago, Peterbot is now currently using this same exact sensitivity. So if 2 of the best players in the world are using this sensitivity, it's probably pretty good, and I absolutely love it. Now, if you're going to use this sense or copy any pro sense, if you're on a PC, you need to download your mouse's software. So like mine is a Logitech mouse, so I have the Logitech G Hub. In here, you can see my mouse is recognized right away, and I can change the DPI between 100 and 25,600. Now, if you're playing keyboard and mouse on console, you either need to plug in your mouse to a laptop or any computer you can find, and then use that to download your mouse's software to change the DPI, or look at your mouse's manual. A lot of the times, your mouse will have buttons on it that can actually change the DPI, and it'll tell you what the DPI is through the manual. And why the DPI is so important is because look at how much I'm moving my hand versus how much my mouse is moving on screen when I'm on 800 DPI. Now, if I go down to 100 DPI, look how much I'm moving my hand and look how little my mouse is moving. And now if I go all the way up to 25,000 DPI. Look how little I'm moving my hand and look how far my mouse is moving. So if you don't use the same DPI that these pros are using, then copying this sense will mean nothing. You'll be on a completely different sensitivity. So again, for these settings, 800 DPI. And like if we're looking at other pro settings, obviously Poyo is also on 800 DPI. Muzz, on the other hand, you can see his X and Y sensitivity are about half of what Poyo and Peterbot's are. So Muzz is using a 1600 DPI. Now further down below this, you have the keyboard movement, which is custom diagonals, which most pros do use. So you want to have this on, you want to have forward diagonal angle at 74, strafe angle at 90, backward diagonal angle at 135. And now for the keybinds. Now if you're a complete keyboard and mouse beginner, I would honestly go and look up your top like 5 favorite keyboard and mouse pros, see what their binds are, copy them and try them for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes each. All binds will feel a little awkward at first, but it's important that they start to feel comfortable pretty quickly. Otherwise, if your bind is like really uncomfortable from the start, you're probably not going to get more comfortable with it later on. So obviously all pro players are really good and all of their binds are good. It kind of just comes down to preference, but I say copy a pro's binds because they've already proved that these binds can work. If you just go and set your binds to random numbers, these binds might not be possible to get good at. Personally, right now, I'm on day 6 of learning Peterbot's binds, which are some of the weirdest binds in the game, but they obviously work really well for him. So like Peterbot uses a G edit. These are his building binds. He crouches with C. And the reason Peterbot's binds are so weird is because look at how I'm actually moving. The regular way to move is with your middle finger on W. This is how basically every keyboard mouse player plays. But what Peterbot does instead is he moves all these fingers over, so his ring finger is on W, his pinky controls A to go left, and his middle finger controls D to go right. So he has this index finger to click all of his build and edit binds. But completely relearning your movement binds is really hard and really frustrating. I'm gonna post my week-long keyboard and mouse Peterbot progression soon, but I'm actually starting to really like these binds. So it's all about just trying them out, free building on them, experimentation, and I highly recommend using this map if you want a free build. It's basically non-stop free build. You can put on a custom crosshair. There's a bunch of different features to help you along with other pro settings in this hub. And to find this map, just search Cartage UK in the map tab, and then once you're in here, go here and make sure to recommend and favorite this map. And now keep watching because I know a lot of you watching this are probably keyboard and mouse beginners because tons of controller players are switching over. So I have a few key tips that will help you get good at keyboard and mouse fast. Starting with number 1, play creative before you play real games. This is because when you're still in the early stages of learning keyboard, it's pretty much all about the repetition and building muscle memory. If you go and play real games, by the way, number 1, you're gonna get destroyed. Number 2, you're not really learning that fast because you're not constantly doing editing drills or learning anything. You're just kind of running around and aiming. So I highly recommend to free build a lot. Like I'm talking for hours or at least an hour every single day for the first week or 2 you're learning. You need to play a lot of piece control drills, just constantly over and over and over, building that muscle memory into your hands. And after you free build and play a lot of piece control drills, then you need to 1v1 players near your skill level a lot. I would say for your first like entire week, you shouldn't even touch a real game. If you simply grind free builds, grind piece control drills, and grind 1v1s, you will get actually pretty good at keyboard and mouse so fast. And tip 2 is to make sure your setup is comfortable. If you're coming from controller, you know you can kind of game from wherever and be okay because your arms are kind of stationary. All the action is in your fingers and thumbs. But when your arms are up and you're actually playing keyboard and mouse, I've found that if my chair is like too low or too high, or even my monitor is too close, or my keyboard is too slanted, all of these things, even little tweaks, can make your shoulders or wrist or neck start to hurt. So I think the key is to set your monitor and chair to heights where you're comfortable and you feel good at, and then you'll be ready to grind. Tip number 3 is to watch keyboard and mouse pros and learn from them. If you watch YouTube or Twitch at all, you probably already watched some good keyboard and mouse players. But next time you're watching a streamer or video, instead of just like watching Peterbot and being shocked at how fast he is, try to actually replay the video a couple times. Set the video in slow motion and try to learn from it. Like if Peterbot does a build combo that you think is really cool, screen record it, go back, play it in slow motion, then come into this map, set your speed to slow motion, and practice this move in complete slow motion. It looks crazy crazy when Peterbot does it because he's so fast, but if you slow everything down, you'd be surprised by how actually easy it is to learn some of these pro moves. And then lastly is to just stay patient and trust the process. Every player learns at different speeds. You definitely don't want to compare your progress to like a friend's or even like a pro that switched from controller to keyboard and mouse. Some people naturally pick it up faster, some people have to grind for a little longer, but keyboard and mouse is ultimately way better than controller. You'll end up being way better than you are on controller. The real key is to just keep practicing and don't give up. Now click here to watch me learn Peterbot's binds in 24 hours, or click here to watch my 72-hour Peterbot progression. I hope this video helped you, and thanks so much for watching.